Fight Fat Podcast number 1. Thank you very much for checking me out. This is Dan Sell. I already flubbed the word, but one take Drake. I'm not doing this over again. Let's keep rolling. So, as you can imagine from the name, I am fat, and I like fighting. I like watching fights. I like participating in them. Only in like the friendly, like at the gym kinds of fights. You know what I mean? Right. I think sparring is the word for that. I like sparring, and I haven't had any professional fights yet, but maybe one day, once I actually can fit into a weight class. You know, I'm working on my weight, and if I ever do get thin, I'll have to change the name of this podcast, and that'll be annoying. But for the time being, I'm committed. I am a super heavyweight on the frame of a flyweight, which is not exactly conducive towards fighting, but, you know, I like to do what I can with what I have, you know? My end-of-the-line goal is to eventually be a knockoff version of Mark Hunt, you know, the great value version. Mark Hunt, the Super Samoan, is a UFC fighter. It's only 5'10", 5'11", somewhere around there. Very short for the heavyweight division, and he was always on the heavier side of it. And you saw what he did in kickboxing and eventually UFC, so if I could ever be anything like him, I certainly want to go for it. Gotta give that a shot. And I'm not Samoan. I'm half white, half black. Somehow in there, I ended up, I don't know, there was some glitch in the Matrix. I ended up coming out looking Samoan, so I'm going to ride that train until the wheels fall off. And, yeah, the most annoying part about that, I mean, I've adapted to being short, and, yeah, it's not too bad. I used to be pretty upset about it. And you know what? I'm not even going to lie to you people. When the microphone stops recording, I'm going to go back to being upset about only being 5'4". But, while the microphone is on, it's not that bad. You know, short pride. As I mentioned, I'm mixed, so, you know, I know a lot of people that have gotten the best of both worlds. You know, they have nice hair, they're tall, athletic, good at basketball. That's yeah, it's not how it worked out for me. I got black and white. You know, white part, I'm not that tall. Black part, I don't know my dad, but. Yeah, moving on. We got UFC Norfolk, Virginia, I think. Joseph Benavidez defending his flyweight. Oh, I messed it up. That's not true. He's not defending it. Yeah, that was my bad. He's not defending it. He is fighting for it. Joseph Benavidez is fighting for the flyweight championship against Davison Figueiredo. I know that wasn't right. I don't speak Spanish or Portuguese, Latin. I don't speak whatever the heck his last name is. And who am I kidding? I don't speak whatever his first name is either. This may have been the most intricate group of names I've ever read for a fight card. So, of course, this is the one that I choose to do my first podcast on. Great job. So, as you may have heard, Figueiredo. You know, I'm just going to call him Figgy and hope nobody takes offense to that. Figgy did not make weight. He missed weight by 2.5 pounds, so he lost 30% of his purse. And even if he wins, he's not eligible for the title. That's not exactly good for the flyweight division, especially if he wins. I love Joseph Benavidez, Jiu-Jitsu. Love his wife too. And if he wins, maybe there's a chance for the flyweight division. But if he loses, the title stays vacant, and I'm not so sure Uncle Dana is going to be happy about that. I think that may be the final nail in the coffin for the flyweight division. I certainly hope that's not the case. I hope something shifts and they start getting the attention that they deserve. But Well, yeah, like I said, it's definitely not looking great right now. Let's go, Joe. I think we can. I think you can beat him. And if you don't, oh boy, oh boy. And the rest of this card, uh, it's pretty good. It's not. It's not. I don't recognize every name on the on the card. There's Grant Dawson versus Derek Minner. Uh, very Caucasian. Grant is. That's. I don't know much about him, but very Caucasian. Megan Anderson. So Caucasian. So tall. And my girlfriend might hear this, so I'm gonna stop talking. Against Norma Dumont. I'm gonna go with Megan Anderson there. She just has a ton more experience than Norma. I didn't say anything for the Grant Dawson versus Derek Minner. I think I might go with. It's a rough one. I'm gonna go with Grant. Then Ian Kutabela versus Magomed N. Kalov. The Russian dude. I mean, I don't know how at this point you can ever vote against the Russian guy when it comes to UFC, MMA in general. Felicia Spencer versus Zara Farron dos Santos. I really chose a great card to start with when it comes to reading these names. I'm going to go with Felicia Spencer. Just all the way, I think she's got this. And Joseph Benavidez, Jiu-Jitsu versus Figgy. It's tough. Gonna go with Joseph Benavidez. Now, before you start placing your bets, you may be wondering, what experience does this gentleman have to provide me with insight like this? Should I trust my money with his opinions? Absolutely not. No, you should not. I'm just some dude. I've described what I look like to some degree. There's absolutely no reason for you to trust me. As a matter of fact, before the card starts, I'm probably gonna change my opinions 9 other times. So, but yeah, whatever the heck I just said, like 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, whatever it was. You know what? Ian Cutabella, he beat Khalil Roundtree, I think in the first round, and that was a rough loss for me. Khalil's my boy, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Magomed. The harder it is pronounced like a Russian name, the more confident I become that they're gonna win. So, yeah, whatever the heck I just said, let's go with that. And other MMA news for the week, or I guess might have been 2 weeks ago at this point, is Diego Sanchez. That was, as everybody anticipated, a weird fight, as has been very covered by every MMA outlet. Was a weird fight. I'm not going to speak too much as to how he did, how he looked. I just hope that before he retires or is forced into retirement by Uncle Dana, he gets a big paycheck, because he's done a lot for the sport, and he's a psycho in the very, very best kind of way. What I will say is that his coach, Joshua E. Fabia, is you know what? I'm not even going to speak to his coaching abilities. What? Finally, I'll get to my point. What I will say about his coach Joshua is, if he was a girl, he would be hot. What does that say about me? I'll let you decide. And I hope that Michelle Pereira, in the next months, whatever his next fight is, I hope it's in the UFC. I hope he stays on the same path that he was on with the Diego fight. I just hope the rules are better explained to him, or that he keeps cooler head during his next fight, so he doesn't sabotage it like that. Because it's one thing to lose, I imagine, but to screw yourself over, I can't imagine he's been sleeping very easy for the last couple of nights. But again, I'm no fighter myself, so no professional fighter. So, oh, you like how I just clarified I'm no professional fighter, as if that wasn't obvious from the way I talk. Stupid, yeah. Oh, I'm no professional fighter, but I just think gonna go out there and they're gonna give it all they got. I like when people, that's why I love fighting, because they really gotta give it all they got. Because, in basketball, oh no, that basket, you just dunked on it again. That basket and the ball that I can't feel, like basketball, not testicle, that I can't feel, you just keep scoring. I can't even believe it. But if you play a lazy game like that, if you don't care about what you're doing in MMA, well, your shins are going to get kicked into the dirt. I don't really know what my point was there. But if you, for some stupid reason, come back to my second podcast, whenever that may come out, you'll notice a trend. I usually don't know what I'm talking about. And the people in my life have just come to accept this. And I appreciate them for it. And I appreciate you guys. I'm at 11 minutes and 40 seconds right now, which is ridiculous. Nobody should listen to me for this long. It's just not good for your health, I imagine. I thought, I'm upstairs in my attic, because that's the quietest part of my house. And it is about 20 degrees up here. I'm sitting in a sleeping bag. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bang out like a good 30, 40-minute podcast. I don't want this to be too long, I don't want this to be a 3-hour Joe Rogan podcast. I'm not there yet. Then, at about 12 minutes now, I'm realizing how hard it is to talk for that long. And just talking into an empty room while you're very cold, it's a little more challenging than I thought it would be. But this is a labor of love, because I love making people listen to me, and I love... I just said this was a labor of love, and then I can only name one thing. This is... Alright, so for the two of you that actually come back next week, I'm going to get into a segment that I think I would like to have, which is my fight of the week. Because I watch a lot of fights, and I don't have a ton of people that... I could discuss them with. Even the members of my gym don't seem to watch as many as me, which is, they're out there actually, training every day. They got better things to do than constantly be obsessed with fighting. But Stipe Miocic, my favorite UFC fighter, I believe, versus Francis Ngannou, the scariest human being alive. UFC 220. That was my fight of the week, one of my very favorite fights, period. I think that was a masterclass on how to deal with a big striker like Ngannou by Stipe. So I'm proud of that guy for doing what he did there. And I think that was definitely a huge lesson for not only Francis, but for anybody coming up. Anybody that's even really in the game, that's just never had that happen to them yet. There's always a wrestler like Stipe, like Daniel Cormier, like Yoel. Well, you know what? Yoel doesn't use his wrestling in the same way they do. There's always a wrestler that can annoy the crap out of you and frustrate you for 25 minutes until the judges decide that you didn't really do anything. So that's my fight of the week. If you've seen that fight, let me know what you think about it. If you were pulling for Stipe or for Francis. And again, this is Dan Sell, Fight Fat Podcast. Thank you very much for checking me out. Have a good one.